Hello, and welcome to this demo of Retrograde 3000. It's an homage to asteroids that I'm using as a project to learn about cross-platform game development. So let's fire it up. Alright, this is the initial screen. You can look around with the mouse. You'll notice there's an atmosphere background music. Now, one thing that I think is kind of interesting is that as I do things, the music will change and add in parts to reflect what's happening on the screen. For example, when I fly around, a hi-hat symbol comes in. I can interact with objects with basic physics, which, when you're really working with one object, isn't that impressive. But I can also shoot. And that's a little more interesting, because now we've got lots of objects interacting. So that's the basics of the physics. Let's see what happens if we bring in some enemies. We'll bring in 4 to start with. Got some friends coming in on the radar, which is in the top right corner. When they get here, some bass drum and bass guitar kick in to kind of make it feel a little more ominous. Since they can't attack me right now, I've turned off their guns. Doesn't really need to be quite so ominous, but there it is anyways. I'm going to try to get away from them. You'll see that it adds in the hi-hat as before, completing more of the music. And as I get away from them, you'll notice that that bass track disappears. They eventually catch up with me. All they can do now is just surround me. But I'm going to shoot some of them, which is a little unfair because they don't have guns, but they're just robots. So. Whoa! So I'm using a sound effect of a popping balloon, which I think is a little more fun than a big explosion. Alright. Makes it a little more fair. I'm going to give them back their ability to fire. I'm going to give the game 8 enemies. And I'm going to put more junk floating around in space. So let's try that. You'll also see as the fighting gets more aggressive, there's even more musical tracks that get brought in. Right now, when I get killed, I just disappear and go back to the beginning, which is kind of lame. I haven't had a chance to build any of that in yet. And that's basically it. It's a long way to go as far as adding levels and different enemies by changing little things like how fast the gun fires or how many enemies there are or the AI that's running them. You can actually get pretty dramatically different game scenarios that are kind of fun. So that's the plan. And I'll also be changing the music. That was just my first stab at it, but I can create different tracks for each level. That one's a little on the kind of ominous sounding side, but there can be more fun ones, more along the lines of Take On Me by Aha, which actually went with it really well. So I may do something that sort of emulates that. All right, that's about it. Ciao.